All right, Mr. Robinson is present for his 2 cases. Mr. Robinson, if you'll look to your left on that giant Zoom screen, do you see your attorneys present?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And counsel, can you see and hear your client?
I can, Your Honor, yes.
All right, very good. Then we're here today for a hearing on motion to be set. I know we have the motion for joinder scheduled for tomorrow.
And Judge, I can tell the court, I have not filed the motion at this point in time. I've been out for a week and a half. I tested positive. I've been very sick. And so I have not, but I also know that tomorrow, part of the, one of the reasons it's also on is there was a motion to compel DNA that had to be litigated. There was an objection made, and I think we'll be prepared to handle that tomorrow. But just to give the court a heads up on that.
But then is that just us to Mr. Robinson? I mean, can we cancel the other people or?
Judge, that was Abdul Robinson Jr. That's on tomorrow. I know that Mr. Hutton also had, I believe, other cases with Abdul Robinson Sr. and other cases that were on tomorrow for motion for joinder in his cases.
All right, yes. So that's still on. That is not being canceled.
I think they're all
Okay.
just on at the same time.
All right. So what are we doing then with Mr. Hakeem Robinson?
Judge, I was not present at the last court date, which was I believe Friday a week ago. My case was on as well as Mr. Robinson's case with Mr. Atkinson, and I know that you had a hearing as to whether or not an adversary preliminary hearing was going to be had. And then my understanding is I guess they were passed to today for a motion to set bond in Mr. Atkinson's case, as well as a motion to reduce bond in my case. Looking at the motion that Mr. DeCoste filed in my case, which is 2020 CF 8232. I believe that the only new grounds that were raised was a statement and deposition regarding a witness that described the shooter as approximately 5'10" or 5'11". I would ask the court, if possible, to postpone having an additional hearing regarding the bond reduction in that case, because we're still waiting on the digital scans to come back. I have talked to the company. We will have that information back this month. However, the preliminary results indicate that I believe that the person in the video will be a match to Mr. Robinson. Of course, I have not disclosed the report because I have not gotten it yet. I just had a preliminary conversation. But if we're going to have a motion to reduce bond based on the height of the person in the video, I would like to have that information to present to the court as well.
Okay, and Mr. Atkinson, and your matter then?
Yes, ma'am. So we're on for the bond hearing whenever the court wants to set it. I was going to ask for Friday if it's available. My son is having a procedure tomorrow, so I'm not available tomorrow, maybe not Wednesday. And I promised that deposition on Thursday. I was going to ask defense counsel agreed just to kind of abbreviate some of the hearing. If I could just provide some materials to Your Honor to review prior to the hearing, I would give a list of what those materials are, just items that are listed on discovery, so that we can have maybe shorten the hearing some. The court can review those items prior to the hearing.
All right, and what is your schedule looking like this week, Mr. DeCoste, Ms. Kawas?
Good morning, Your Honor. We do have some time later in the week, but if I could address something first and then come back to the days that were available.
Okay.
Mr. Cooper got into what we're asking for in the motion. Ms. Kawas and I have the understanding that today was for an update from the court on the ruling on the adversary preliminary hearing. We had the hearing on that previously. I know that ASA Cooper was out and perhaps didn't know about that, but a ruling from the court whether we're entitled to an adversary preliminary hearing on the newer case. Now, whatever happens.
And let me clarify, I did take that under advisement, and we had the hearing the day before I left to go out of town, and I was out of town all last week. So I do not have a ruling for you today, and I was not going to enter a ruling today knowing that I did not have time this week to do it. We were going to set, that's why I put it on a to be set Monday.
Yes.
To set this hearing this week if all parties are available.
With respect to the motion to reduce, now, of course, you know, we could have these hearings within 3 hours of when we file the motion. Per the rule, we've been patient. I think it's been a couple of weeks now, not with the court, but with the government, because the government asked for time to first set the last hearing that we had and now asking for a little bit more time. And I very much understand ASA Atkinson with his child with that, but ASA Cooper asking for us to wait for digital scans that we've been waiting on since I think November of last year, and at best would say that it's consistent with some. Now we believe that it will come back and exonerate our client, But even if it comes back and it says that it's somebody of this height, it's not of the ability, it's like cell phone. You can just say that it's consistent with, not it actually proves. So I guess I turn back over to the court. We would like to go forward first, I believe in the APH, and then go to the reduction if need be. But we can give some dates to the court when we're available as well, too.
Well, I mean, that's what I guess I figured is first get the ruling on the APH motion, which I do intend to resolve this week because I have no trial this week and I have time to now address that motion. It's just not ready today since I just got in town yesterday. That said, I can certainly get the ruling out this week, but and if we need to bump the bond hearing to next week, I can do that. If y'all want to have it this week, I can schedule it. You know,
Your Honor, if we could do the bond hearing this week, because assuming the bond motion is granted and he is able to post a bond that is conducive with his financial situation right now, then we are not entitled to an adversary preliminary hearing. And I know that the state is bringing up the body scan and those things. We already have a bond in both cases. We are basically arguing that Mr. Robinson, due to his financial situation, and I will provide the court with the plethora of case law, that the bond is tantamount to no bond. So whereby I know they are trying to address factual scenarios and bring in new evidence, this is really a discussion of whether or not there are things that can ensure his presence at trial. We've already determined he's entitled to bond on both cases. It's now a reduction.
okay, well, and of course, I'm sure as all of you know the law, there has, since we've already had a full-blown hearing on this matter, including his finances. I heard from the record company executives about what he could afford or not afford, et cetera, et cetera. There has to have been a change of circumstance since I last had the hearing. We're not going to redo that again.
Oh, no, absolutely, Judge. And that's what most of our position was, is at that time a year ago where we did have the backing of a record company and all of that, that is no longer the situation. And so we're going to have Mr. Robinson fill out a financial affidavit because he is indigent for costs. And we are going to do, I'm asking the court to do an evaluation based on what is happening with his current financial situation.
All right, so when do y'all want to have this hearing?
And Judge, if I may just inquire, just to be clear so that I know what we're arguing, is it my understanding based on what was just said that at the bond hearing to reduce bond in 2020 CF 8232, the case where we already had the lengthy Arthur hearing, that the only new information that is going to be addressed is Mr. Robinson's financial ability, as opposed to any new change in circumstances or facts related to the case itself?
Right, because the motion includes both. So yeah, I guess I would want to be clear too. Are we talking about changes in evidence that you all are going to argue, or is it just strictly his finances? Because if it's changes in evidence, I want to wait to see what the digital body scan says, quite frankly. If it's just finances, I'm happy to hear it this week.
Well, then we can, if the court would allow, we can address the finances this week. And then if the evidence changes later, then we can address that separately in a differing hearing, a different motion. We'll go forward on just the finances.
Okay. Well, then are y'all available Friday?
Judge, I can do it Friday. I'll tell the court I do have a 3850 hearing in CRC that starts about 10 a.m. That may last a couple hours, but I could do it after that.
Do you think you'll be done by 1 or 1:30?
I believe so, Judge.
And Mr. Atkinson, you're available Friday afternoon? And are you both available Friday afternoon then?
We'll move around the other stuff that we have and make ourselves available. Just to be clear, Your Honor, in the event that the APH is granted, we would want that on a separate day so that we can be physically present, because we believe that legally they're going to have to call witnesses to the stand.
I understand. That's
Okay.
fine. Yeah, we're not having the APH on Friday. This is just the bond motion of both of the homicides. All right, so we'll schedule it for March 18 at 1:30 p.m. for the bond hearings.
No, I will prepare this that has the items that I've asked you to review prior to the bond hearing. And And then I'll send an email so that you're on JA defense counsel, list out the item.
Okay. All right, I'll see y'all back here then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good seeing you.
Thank you.